Hello, this is Bob Gray Sr. Welcome to Ministry Moments, Lord willing, every Friday, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. We'll spend some time together. This is not a sermon. I'm not going to be preaching every Friday at this time. I want to talk to you about things. Sermons come from needs. Uh, Pastoring, you counsel your people, and they present needs to you, and then you look for the answer to those. And of course, I've always got a sermon every day and put a little title on it, a little skinny outline on the thing, but basically to try to help. And then for 3 decades, we had the soul winning clinic there in Longview, Texas. And oh, what a blessing that was! Man, it was great having people come from all over the country and from around the world, and it was just marvelous, just absolutely marvelous. Now, here's what I like. That's something stuck in there, right there. I don't know what that is. Um, Ketchup, maybe, huh? Here, I want to talk to you today about church-wide soul winning. Um, the and please allow me to indulge a little bit in remembering of what we did, and it was unique. It was different. Brother Hiles would say, I was in Chicago. I couldn't have a church-wide soul winning night, and they had all types of soul winning opportunities and times. But I want to talk to you about it's unique. It's LBT. It's Longview Baptist Temple. It was, and we were the last Mohicans in the sense of showing that it can still be done. Old-fashioned position, old-fashioned preaching and teaching, organization. It can still bring about success in reaching your area for Christ. So I'm going to talk to you about church-wide soul winning. I'm not saying that you have to do it this way. I guess I'm just kind of just saying to you, let me talk to you about the way that we did do it. And so we're talking about church-wide soul winning, church-wide soul winning. Now, the Great Commission is where the church is supposed to be organized by the pastor to reach taught and trained and to win souls. And then the great commandment is that on a daily basis in the Church of Acts, they won folks daily. And so there's two aspects of this thing, and I'm afraid that I'm not afraid, but it seems to me like everybody's on board for soul winning, having a soul winning night. Call it visitation. I never liked that term. Call it soul winning, and so because of that, we have forgotten about the importance of daily winning folks to Christ on a day by day basis. And I think that has in many ways hurt us. We need both. We need the Great Commission. Somebody's got to organize this mess so we can teach and train and show people what to do. But we also have a heart to where on a daily basis we win souls every day, Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. Brother Hiles had no church-wide soul winning night. We did. He didn't. And I understand why. But man, you baptize 15,000 people in a year and a church grow from 700 to running 20,000 plus. It came about not because of a church-wide soul winning program, but because they won souls daily. So both are essential. Both are critical. But I'm going to focus now on church-wide soul winning. All right. I'm going to focus on that. So I want you to write some things down that I'm going to get. Now we grew from 13 out on Thursday night, which they called it visitation. We visit the absentees, the new electrical hookups, the new movements to town, and so on, which is all right. I'm not opposed to that at all. Come up with something to win your area to Christ. But one of our dear ladies, who was our records secretary, she's in heaven now, great Christian lady, and she said to me one day, she said, Pastor, we have more people saved during the week than we do on Thursday night. And Thursday was big push, big push. And we had a mailbox out in front of the office area. And people put their convert slips in that area. And we would collect them every day, type them, put them in the computer. And Saturday there was a printout. Every Sunday school teacher, every Sunday school superintendent, every bus captain, every division leader, the bus directors and so on, and the staff, everybody got that list. And we wanted to make sure that everybody was contacted off of that list. Boy, can you think about it? You're a Sunday school teacher and it's not cold turkey. Somebody's already led them to Christ, and here you are following up. That's just great. And it worked. It worked. It worked. All right. Church-wide soul winning. Now, I'm going to emphasize in this what we did. Big push on Thursday night. I mean, a big push on Thursday night. So let me give you some thoughts. Number one, we're commanded to go soul winning as individuals. We are commissioned to go soul winning, number two, as a church. So we organize the church and how to do it, and we help them. But I am commanded to win souls on a daily basis. I am commanded, or the church is commissioned to go into all the world, preach the gospel to every creature. It's got to be organized. Commission, like you commission a ship. I'll be flying to Norfolk, Virginia this weekend and preaching at a soul winning camp there, and looking forward to it. But I've seen the ships there that they build, and I've seen them commission those ships and send them into service. And they've got the staff there, they're organized, and everybody has a part, everybody knows what to do, and so on. Well, that reminds me of a local church. We're commissioned. The pastor organizes us and teaches and helps us and divides us up and shows us what to do. So I said, number one, we're commanded to win souls individually. You are commanded to win souls individually. And the church and the people that do it on a daily basis are going to see tremendous growth. Tremendous growth. Not overnight. The great churches only grew by two and a half a Sunday, or in our case, 1.5, 2 a Sunday. Not spectacular growth, but steady growth. Then number two, we're commissioned to organize a local church to win souls. So we've got not only the commandment individually, but the commission collectively, corporately. Number three, we had 8 different soul winning times at Longview Baptist Temple. Now, where did that come from? Well, if a guy said, I can't make it Thursday, but he said, I can make it Monday. Okay, you got it. We'd been a staff member and we'd go slow with that. So as a result, ended up after 3 decades, we had 8 different times to go simply because we were trying to meet the needs of the people and their schedule. So I said, number one, we're commanded to go soul winning as individuals. You got that daily, every day. That's the book of Acts, Church of Acts, First Baptist Church of Jerusalem. Number two, we're commissioned to organize. So the pastor organizes the soul winning, trains and teaches and so on. Number three, we had 8 different times to go soul winning. Now, where did that come from? That came from people who say, I can't go Thursday night, or I can't go Thursday morning, I can't go Saturday. So what do? We just say, well, I guess you can't go. No. Can you go Monday? You can. Okay, we'll meet you there, or we'll have a staff member go with you. But we're gonna make sure that we find ourselves being organized. So I said, number one, we're commanded to win souls daily. Commanded to win souls, so do it daily. Number two, we're commissioned as a church to organize to win souls. Then number three, we had 8 different times to go soul winning. Why? Because we were accommodating the people who could not go on a Thursday or a Saturday or one of the other times. Number four, we would accommodate members to fit their personal schedule. I wanted everybody to go soul winning. So we accommodated them. They can't go Thursday and go Monday. Well, bless God, we'll pair somebody up with you and go on Monday. All right, number five, fifth point. We emphasize, though, one at LBT. I'm talking about Longview Baptist Temple. We emphasize one big night to go soul winning. I wanted one gigantic night where we paired up 2 by 2. Now, we're not in Chicago. We're not in Philadelphia. We're not in Dallas. We're in 80,000 population East Texas town. And all the people within 50 miles or 100 miles had to be reached. If we didn't reach them, nobody was going to reach them. So we emphasized, I felt like if we could just emphasize one big night, that night happened to be Thursday night for us. And I'll tell you why in a minute. One big night. And then once a year, we'd take a picture of that soul winning crowd, hand it out to everybody and say, pray. Pray that we don't lose our heart for souls. Pray for the Thursday night soul winning. Pray for us that we'll keep this thing alive and vibrant. And we did for 3 decades. All right. Talk about church-wide soul winning. I'm talking to you about Longview Baptist Temple, how we did it. We're not in Chicago. We're not in Dallas. We're not in Philadelphia. We're not in Los Angeles. We're not in New York. So we were in an East Texas town. So in my mind, I felt like that if we could just have one gigantic push, one gigantic night. And I'll tell you what we did one time. We had TNT month. That was in June. And we joke about it. I better not catch you winning somebody to Christ on Thursday night in Longview. Well, because we had so many small towns within driving distance. So I wanted to, and we did. We'd take out Marshall, Tyler, Shreveport, uh, Wascom. We would pick out all types of small cities, and we would attack that city on Thursday night or that week. That was the emphasis there. Just a little variety. All right. Church-wide sobering. I'm just talking to you now about what we did at Longview Baptist Temple. Okay. All right. Number one, I noted that we are commanded to win souls. Now, in the Church of Acts did it daily. We're commanded to win souls. Number two, we're commissioned to organize as a church to win souls. So we taught soul winning. We organized it. Number three, we had 8 different times to go. Number four, we would accommodate through that, we would accommodate the members to fit their schedule. I wanted everybody to go. If you could only go, we had Sunday afternoon soul winning at 4 o'clock, church at 7 that night. By the way, I hate change. Good grief. I mean, some of these pastors, they go to a conference, come back, change everything. And the poor people back there scratching their head, well, who are we this week? I like stability. I like what God said about Solomon, about blessing him. He said, if he be constant. Yeah, if you're consistent, constant, more opportunity to get God's attention. All right. So number four, we would accommodate members to fit their personal schedule. Number five, we emphasize one big night. Ours happened to be Thursday night. Number six. This way, I could enlist Wednesday night people. Now, we had great crowds on Wednesday night Bible study. But at the end of the Bible study, I don't care what the Bible study was on. At the end of it, I would go 12 sections lower floor, 10 sections of balcony. And I would go section by section and say, I'm going tomorrow night. I'm going to go tomorrow night. I'm going to win somebody to Christ tomorrow night. I need your help. Will you help me? And I would go section by section. Everybody in this section is going to go with me tomorrow. Stand up, stand up. I put the pressure on. I'll tell you where I learned this. I would preach for a lot of small churches in rural areas. And these pastors, one pastor said to me in Tennessee, he said, we may not be a big church, but we give $100,000 to missions every year. Wow. You run 100 and you gave 100,000. That's amazing. I said, what's the secret to it? Oh, he said, our people don't want anybody to go to hell. And I got to thinking, that's true. God's people don't want anybody to go to hell. So I upped the ante. Mine was, bless God, if you want to keep people out of hell, you better be here tomorrow night. 7 o'clock, slow winning. And I put the pressure on. Why? Because nobody who's saved wants anybody to go to hell. Nobody does. So I use that as a pressure point. And there's nothing wrong with pressure. They check your blood pressure. If you didn't have water pressure, you'd have a lot of trouble, wouldn't you? Do you understand what I'm saying? So I took Wednesday night and went section by section, lower floor, balcony. Who's going to help me? I'm going. Who's going to help? And by the way, I didn't preach out on Thursdays and Fridays. I was home, maybe once in a while, but not very often. And I wanted to lead. And I wanted to lead that church in winning souls. All right. We're talking about church-wide soul. Now I'm talking to you about Longview Baptist Temple, what we did. It worked for us. We were not in Chicago. We were not in Dallas. We were not in Los Angeles or Philadelphia or New York. We were in a small East Texas town. And so I felt like that this was the way to go for us. This may help you. It may not help you. I don't know. But church-wide soul winning, our emphasis in Longview. Number one, we realize we're commanded to win souls daily. We're commanded to win souls. Every day you're supposed to win people to Christ. You may not today, but bounce back and go after tomorrow. So we're commanded to win souls as individuals. Number two, we're commissioned to win souls as a church. We're organized, commissioned, organized, taught on how to do it. Number three, we had 8 different times to go soul winning in our church in Longview Baptist Temple. Number four, we would accommodate members to fit their personal schedule. Number five, We emphasized one big night, and that for us was Thursday night. Number six, this way I could list Wednesday night people to show up. I put the pressure on. I need your help. Will you help me? Will you help me? I'm going. Will you help me? And then number seven, we had a prelude at 7 o'clock, just like it was a few minutes, 10 minutes before seven, just as if it were a church service. So we had the pianist and the organist play a prelude, like you do before Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. Well, Thursday night soul winning is important too. So I had a prelude. Then we would sing a congregational song. Now, this is before we taught practicalities of soul winning. All right, I'm just telling you what we did at Longview Baptist Temple. It went from 13 to 169 on Thursday night going out soul winning. Oh yeah, we had 200 plus on Saturday that went out and visited the bus routes. We had at our height, we had 40 bus routes. I'm talking about church-wide sowing, the way we did it at Longview Baptist Temple. Number one, we are commanded to win souls. Number two, as individuals. Number two, we are commissioned as a church to go soul winning. What's that mean? Organize, set everything up, have times to go, teach the people. Number three, we had 8 different times to go soul winning. Number nine. Number four, you're going to get old someday. We would accommodate members to fit their personal schedule. That's why we had 8 different times. Number five, we emphasized one big night, and ours was Thursday night. The reason because of that Wednesday night crowd. All right. Number six, this way I could enlist Wednesday night people to show up. Number seven, we had a prelude before the actual 10 minutes to 7. We'd have a prelude, and then we'd have a congregational song. Number 9, we had a song. We would sing a congregational song. Number 10, from 7 to 7:10, maybe 7:05 to 7:20, was basic instruction, teaching every Thursday night for 10 minutes. Every Thursday night. We'd have a number, I'm getting ahead of myself here, but number 10, we had a red soul winner paper with all of the points that were going to be taught that night and a convert slip placed on when we were in the fellowship hall, it was every chair. When it was the auditorium, the lower floor, we put it spaced it throughout the lower floor on the pews. We wanted them to have a red soul winner paper, which had all the points, so they would have to write it down. So whoever's teaching that night would go, point 1, point 2, point 3. You got me? All right. So number 1, we're commanded to win souls as individuals. Number 2, we're commissioned to win souls as a church. Number 3, we had 8 different times to go soul winning. Number 4, we would accommodate members to fit their personal schedule. Number 5, we emphasized one big giant night. That was Thursday night. Number 6, this way I could enlist Wednesday night people to show up on Thursday night. I go section by section, stand up. You're going to be with me? You want to help me? All right. Next, we had a prelude of 10 minutes before the soul winning time got started. It's a big deal. Big deal. Next, we would sing a congregational song. Next, from 7 to 7:10 to 7:20, we would teach what was off that red soul winner paper. Next, we put soul winner paper, we call it the red soul winner papers and convert slips on every pew so that they pick up the red soul winner paper. They wouldn't have to write anything down, and we would teach for 20 minutes practicalities of soul winning. Next, different staff people would take a month. Different staff people would take a month and say, okay, for this month of July or August, every Thursday, you could depend on that staff member teaching. All right. Next, don't forget, we got the red soul winner paper and convert slips on the pew. Next, I would take the last 5 minutes and fire them up. I would go the last 5 minutes. Oh boy, it was hot. Bless God, I'm going to see some. I don't know who's going with me tonight, but we're going to see somebody saved. Even my partner's going to get saved again. A little levity. But oh my goodness, it was a big deal. And boy, I put the pressure on. I raise hand. How many here are saved tonight? They raise their hand. I believe there's somebody out there that's unsaved tonight and wants to be saved. Raise their hand. How many believe God knows where they are? The ones that want to be saved. They raise their hand. All right. How many are going to stay out till you find them? Put the pressure on. Those of you who were part of those days, You know what it was like, and it was just as clear and repetitious, and it never got boring, never got old. Sowing does not get old. You may quit it, but God still demands it. All right. Talk about church-wide sowing. I'm talking to you about now what we did at Longview Baptist Temple. What we did. We're not in Dallas. We're not in Chicago. We're in a small East Texas town. All right. So number one, I said we're commanded to win souls individually. Number two, we're commissioned to organize to win souls as a church. Number three, we had 8 different times to go. Number four, we would accommodate members to fit their personal schedule. I can't go Thursday. Well, when can you go? And I'll work it out for you. Next, we emphasize one big night a week. Oh, that was Thursday night. Next, this way I could enlist Wednesday night people. Stand, every section, stand if you're going to go with me. Now look, if you don't mean business about this thing and you think this is too hard and you're browbeating and too much pressure and so on, would you just go right ahead and languish in your mediocrity? But just in case you get bit by this thing, maybe this thing might help you a little bit. So we had a prelude, 10-minute prelude, organist, pianist, before the Thursday night soul winning started. We put out red soul winner papers and convert slips on every pew. We had a different staff member every month get up and teach that red soul winner paper. Then I would get up the last 5 minutes and put the pressure on. Let's go. We've got to go. People going to hell. We've got to win people to Christ. And that's exactly the way that it was done. I'm just talking about now, if you don't want to do this, you think it's too much pressure, if that's the way you feel about it, then don't do anything. Just sit there in mediocrity. Sit there until you die. But just in case you got bit by this thing of winning souls, maybe a good template to follow. Maybe. Now, I understand if you're in Chicago and Dallas, it's hard for people to make it home, get a bite to eat, and make it. I understand all that. But we were not in a big town. We were in a small East Texas town, and our buses went 120 miles away from Longview. And we had oh, we were great people. If you know anybody who's a part of that time, they'll tell you it was not, oh, we preacher browbeat. No, preacher put the pressure on. And that's the way it should be. All right. I went overtime today, but I think it was worth it, don't you? God bless you. Soul winning tomorrow. Don't you lay out. Now you make sure you get out there and win souls. God bless you.